defending the free market, and making the moral case for capitalism. The Justin Moore Show. Hey everybody, welcome to the Justin Moore Show, where we make sense of what's going on in this crazy, insane, out of control world. Now I am back, ladies and gentlemen, from Freedom Fest. It was a fantastic time. Lots of incredible people there, great libertarians, people you know, lots of great speakers. It's just a really good time, and for those of you out there who didn't make it, come on guys, what are you doing? Next year, I think it's going to be, I know one of the dates is July 11th, 7/11. You can get a free Slurpee. So try to plan on making some time in your schedule for Freedom Fest. There's some Contra Cruisers there as well. It's just so fun. I get a lot of the guys that I've had as guests on my show, they're there and talking with them, having a few drinks with them. And also, I noticed during the conference they did put quite a bit of an emphasis on what's going on in Venezuela. And they're pointing out like, hey, look, the media isn't talking about this. Like, this is a perfect example of the collapse of socialism. And ladies and gentlemen, what have I been doing on my show the last, 2 years? Talking about the crisis in Venezuela, pointing out how, just like they were saying there at Freedom Fest, like this is the perfect example of socialism collapsing, of a collapse in society. It's happening right now. There's the phrase that goes like, for most people out there, history starts the day the person is born. Well, with a lot of people, hey, look, okay, so they weren't there during the Weimar Republic or during all the other hyperinflationary events in the 20th century. But here we have right now a collapse in a currency in Venezuela. And that's why I've had to come back. I've done I think I've done 3 shows for sure on Venezuela. Just talking about how the crisis has gotten worse and how it's escalated to them eating flamingos and anteaters and cats and dogs and raiding zoos to eat animals. It's been that crazy over there. People are starving. On average, people have lost 19 pounds in just the last year because they can't afford to eat. Here we are in our country, United States. We're at least able to survive and live a pretty decent life over here so far. Because right now the game is still going, the music is still playing, the music hasn't stopped. But once the music does stop, when people no longer have faith in this fiat currency, the US dollar that the standard by which everyone in the world kind of relies on and they link their currencies to and how most transactions are done, the US dollar is the world's reserve currency. When we come collapsing down, the whole world is going to be in chaos. And ladies and gentlemen, it's only a matter of time. And so what I want to do on today's show, let's go back, let's reflect. What's going on in Venezuela? Just a little bit of an update for you to talk about how bad has their currency gotten in just this year alone, 2017. How much inflation have they really experienced? Well, here we have CNN Money. This is actually a piece from a month ago. And here it is, just 2 sentences here. At the beginning of the year, it took about 3,000 bolivars to buy $1 US. By Wednesday, it took almost 8,000. So that's like the end of June. That's according to dollartoday.com, which tracks the unofficial exchange rate used by most Venezuelans because official rates are considered overvalued. No way. The government wouldn't overstate the value of their currency. Wow. Shocker. And actually in this piece here, they show a really neat little bar graph here. And it shows, how much a dollar gets you in Venezuela. And they showed, just like I mentioned there. So on January 1st of 2017, the $1 got you basically 3,000 bolivars. On May 1st, so 4 months later, it now took, for $1 US, you'd get 4,200 bolivars. And then in June, so 2 months later, so it's June 28th, when this piece was written, it now takes 8,000 bolivars. And actually now the amount, now that we're at the end of July here, that's even higher. I'm not sure what the amount is. Now let's just update you guys with some current information from a piece from CNN Money from July 25th. Now this is kind of going over some numbers that I just went over with the 8,000 bolivars, but it adds a little more to it in this piece. So here we are. Inflation is only getting worse. In 2010, one American dollar was worth about 8 bolivars. Today, it's worth over 8,000 bolivars, according to the unofficial exchange rate. And it says here, prices could rise an astounding 2,000% next year. To keep up, Maduro has raised the minimum wage 3 times this year. Actually, I think the last time I talked about Venezuela, I was pointing out how here's Maduro thinking he's going to help people out so they have a livable wage. He's raised the minimum wage 3 times in 2017. And guess what? Those poor SOBs are still starving to death. They are still eating flamingos and anteaters. And actually, I found this to be really interesting. This was part of the piece. It's showing a little snippet from a social media post. I don't know what site it's from. I don't know. Maybe it's like Twitter or something. And here's a guy that lives in Caracas. What he has is a picture of some money and then a bottle of water sitting on top of the money. Okay? And then he has a caption that reads this. You need this much cash to buy 1 bottle of water in Venezuela. That's 1,200 bolivars, worth about $1 a year ago. Today, it's worth less than a penny. Inflation is expected to rise 720% this year and over 2,000% next year, according to the IMF. Larger denominated bills are available, but there's so much demand for them, there's already shortages, forcing some to keep huge stacks of the old bills deemed worthless. Can you, ladies and gentlemen, believe that? So in just a year's time, 1,200 bolivars, that once bought you a bottle of water. Now 1,200 bolivars is like having less than a penny. I mean, your money, that's not money at that point, right? And with that, there's just no stability in society. When you have no stability, why would you ever want to start a business when prices are changing that drastically? You don't. And that's why even if you look at the US dollar, you just look at, ever since we went off the gold standard completely in 1971, Nixon took us off. He closed the gold window. Look at the instability we've had since then. And it's only gotten worse. Why does it seem that the crises keep getting worse and worse? In 2008, it's the worst we've seen since the Great Depression, all that. They're compounding. They're getting worse. That's why the next crisis, it's going to be much worse than what we saw in 2008. It's all building. All this fiat currency, it's allowed bubbles to inflate beyond anything that would ever happen. Bubbles don't happen in a gold standard. If you actually had a true gold coin standard, they wouldn't happen. And actually, when I was at Freedom Fest, I interviewed Keith Weiner. That's going to be next week's episode. He talks about the gold standard, how we transitioned to it. And he owns a company, Monetary Metals. Really incredibly smart guy. I've had him on my show before. Just, he thinks about things in a lot different way compared to most people. And he's just an incredible mind. With that interview, I noticed that there was a lot of background noise with it because we're in the conference area or where they have like the trade show or whatever you call that, where all the little booths are at. And I'm hoping I can figure out how to eliminate the background noise or at least reduce it. So I'll be working on that, but that's going to be next week's episode is my interview with Keith Weiner. And so let's just continue on here with Venezuela. And this is actually I found very interesting. And this will go along with things I've also said on my show before. But Venezuela ships in food primarily from Brazil, Colombia, and Mexico because the government stopped cultivating this rich farmland years ago. Why would they do that? For the first 5 months of this year, food exports from those countries to Venezuela were down 61% from the same period in 2015, according to Paniva, a research firm. Okay, let's get this straight. So I've told you guys, here's Venezuelans, they're starving to death. On average, they're losing like 19 pounds per person in the last year alone. It's not like they're on a purposeful diet like here in the United States, where everybody's, well, let's not say everybody, a lot of people are fat, well, or a little bigger than they want to be. Let's try to keep it a little politically correct here. Now, so here we have exports down in most of those huge exporting countries that export food to Venezuela. Exports are down 61%. But why would that be when these guys are starving to death? I mean, wouldn't their demand for food be going through the roof? Shouldn't exports be up? Now, this gets back to something we've talked about a long, long time ago. It's a very general idea. And it comes down to, in order for you to consume, you must first produce. You produce in order to consume. If you want to trade with somebody, that's what you have to do. Venezuelans, socialist democracy since 1999. They are producing less and less because the government has seized control of more and more assets. The government has seized farmlands, lands that they used to cultivate years ago. They no longer do because the government owns it. The government doesn't know how to be productive. The government doesn't know how to create things. The government can only steal and take things by force and consume. That's all the government knows how to do. And that is why I make the case over and over again on my show, pointing out how the government always makes things worse. They're less productive than the free market, than the private sector. That's why we leave things in the hands of the free market and the private sector. Let us handle it. And it's also, we like freedom too. I don't want to be told what to do, neither do you. And here's an idea right here of Venezuelans, people starving to death. Well, they would love to be able to produce more food, but they can't because they're broke, because they have nothing to trade with. And yeah, it doesn't help also to add insult to injury that their oil prices are down, but they're also producing less oil, which they have a lot of oil over there. They're becoming less efficient. It's like you as an individual. Say if, I don't know, say you're a farmer. Let's just say you sell sweet corn to the local grocery store. Your sweet corn has produced 50% less than it did last year. Say you just didn't get to irrigating it in time. You're being kind of lazy. It's like, and yeah, it was hotter this summer compared to last summer. And, your crop is just crap compared to last year. So you just didn't get the nice big cobs like you had before. You had to throw a lot out because they were just underdeveloped kernels in them. You couldn't sell them. So now you say that was your only income for the year. That's where all your income came from, is just selling to this local grocery store and just during that season. Well, now your income is 50% less for this next year. Now, for you as a consumer, now of course you producing corn, that's not the only thing you do. You do that just so you can make money. Now that you have your money, you can go and you can purchase products and goods that you want, right? Well, now you have 50% less to go do that, to go spend on entertainment, to go buy a car, or to make yourself more efficient, more productive in terms of growing sweet corn, to buy more equipment, better equipment, to hire more workers to help you pick corn, whatever it is. You now have 50% less capital to work with. So you have become a lot worse off. You've produced less. That's part of Venezuela's predicament right now. The government has seized control over more and more assets. The government is more inefficient than the private sector is, and they're producing less and less goods. And so now the Venezuelans, it's insult to injury. The government wants to help out. They want to help the poor. They keep hiking the minimum wage. But the people keep getting more starving. That's not the way you say it, but that's the way I'm going to use it. They're worse off, these people. And they think when things can't get any worse, they get worse. It's not good, and I feel so bad for these people, but a lot of these people, they still support Hugo Chavez and thought he was a great guy after he died in 2013. They just think Maduro is the D-bag. No, it's just more of the same. This is what happens. This is socialism. This is what socialism gets you guys. And now there's more and more people fleeing Venezuela because they're starting to realize, okay, yeah, maybe stuff isn't going to get any better. And just look at this right here. Nearly 11,500 infants died in 2016. That's a 30% rise from the prior year. Malaria cases jumped to 240,000, a 76% rise from 2015. Now, isn't it these same socialists out there, these Bernie Sanders types, that are saying, oh yeah, it's for the sake of the children, we got to protect the children. Here we have a socialist economy, Venezuela, where you're seeing more infant deaths. You see more people dying from malaria. Do they really care about the children? They may say they do, but their policies cause the exact opposite to happen. The unintended consequences of government intervening in the economy. That is what happens. And what I just said earlier here, with people leaving Venezuela. So here we have right here, the crisis has literally pushed Venezuelans' upper and middle classes out, creating a severe brain drain. Nearly 2 million Venezuelans have left the country since 1999. According to Thomas Paez, a sociologist, professor at the Central University of Venezuela in Caracas. Venezuela is a country of only 30 million people. And now what's going on in recent news, as of like July 26th, is that Venezuelans, what they're doing is they have protests on the streets. They blocked off the streets, and they're trying to stop Nicolas Maduro, because Nicolas Maduro's idea is he wants to rewrite the country's constitution. He's holding a controversial election that basically 70% of Venezuelans are against this special election, which this election will choose the Constituent Assembly, and those are the people who will rewrite the Constitution. And who knows what's going to happen. A lot of people, I've seen quotes from them. They're stocking up on food, well, as much as they can, based on what they can get a hold of, because they think things are going to get worse. So people have lost complete faith in the government over in Venezuela, realizing this Maduro is not there to help them. Everything he does just keeps making things worse. So people are getting the hell out of Dodge. A lot of people are moving over to Colombia. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is what I have for you today. Just to refresh us on what's going on in Venezuela. This is such a great story we can talk to our friends and family about. If you just go, I've done this several times, like, man, I kind of refer to Venezuela. It's like, it's crazy out there, like what's going on in Venezuela. And then your friends and family kind of look at you like, well, what the hell's going on in Venezuela? They have no idea the craziness that's taking place right now. But with little episodes I do like this can help, and I tweet out the articles I refer to here, so you can read the articles yourself and arm yourself and point out, like, hey, look at these guys over there. This is what they're doing. This is what they're going through. People are losing 19 pounds on average. Their currency has collapsed in value. It was at 3,000 bolivars to $1 on January 1st. Now $1 will get you 8,000 bolivars. Like, that is crazy inflation. People aren't able to keep up. People in general out there need to know that this is going on. And this is where you can get them. You can say, hey, look, this is the result of 18 years of socialism. This is what socialism gets you. Well, Bernie Sanders talked about on the campaign trail, yeah, it sounded great. It does. But it doesn't work out. The government is inefficient. The government destroys production. And that is where you get money. Money is just the medium of exchange between two people that produce. That is what it is. If you're not producing, you have nothing to trade with someone else. So what good? The money is irrelevant if you have nothing to exchange it, if you just want to do it on a barter level. So the Venezuelans, they're coming up short. That is what most people don't get. Most people don't understand how money works. They're confused. Well, hell, they've never even thought to think about it. They just know money's there. They get paid, they get some monies, and they spend the monies. People accept the monies. People love the monies. They get what they want. Everything is great. They don't give a damn how it works. But eventually, when people realize that their monies don't really work, things don't work like they used to. They now realize the monies that they thought that could last them all year will now only get them through maybe a month. Or a paycheck they thought that would last them to get them a month's worth of food now only gets them a few days. At that point, people will ask about the monies. And they will come to people who have the answers. And ladies and gentlemen, that is you and you and you out there. You guys know the answer to this. You guys will be able to help them out. And that is why you guys are here. We are here to learn together, to get through all this, to understand everything that's going on, put the pieces together that the media can't put together. The media doesn't talk about what's going on in Venezuela. They have no idea what the hell's going on. They just think, oh, okay, yeah, there's a little bit of a crisis going on in Venezuela, but that's because oil prices have came down. No, that's not. But all the brain-dead peeps out there, they believe it. They're like, okay, yeah, oil's down, that's why. Venezuela, yeah, oil-rich country. People don't think through the basics. They can't get through that. Man, I tell you what, I get back from Freedom Fest here, and I'm just fired up, ready to go. You know what, guys? Let's just end it there. I'm so glad. I'm sorry I missed out on last week's show. Crap has just been crazy. I'm barely getting this one out. Don't worry, I'm working on that interview with Keith Weiner. I just got to try to edit out all that background noise, get that all figured out. That'll come out next week. You guys are going to love it. And then, go to my website. Go to justinmoreshow.com. More is spelled M-O-H-R. You can buy your Amazon goods through my website. That helps me out. I get a small commission back. It costs you nothing extra. It helps give me a few bucks over here. It's great. And you can also, if you want to donate to me directly, PayPal, I have a little link there. You click on it. If you donate over $50 to my show, I'll put you in the drawing for the silver coin that I'm going to have right before the Contra Cruise. And also, I also send you my bonus episodes. I just did my new bonus episode that came out a few weeks ago. I update you guys on ways to save money in Vegas, credit cards I use to help save you money, to help make you money. All that there is at my website, justinmooreshow.com. And guys, I just thank you so much for being here. I'll talk with all you guys next week, and I'm looking forward to it. This is Justin Moore, signing off.